जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी Krishna 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 പരിപാലകാചാര്യ ശ്രീമാൻ അഭയചരണാരവിന്ദ ഭക്തവേദാന്ത പരിപാലകാചാര്യ അഷ്ടോത്തരസദസ്യ ശ്രീമാൻ ഭക്തസിദ്ധാന്ത സരസ്വതി മഹാരാജ് ഭഗവാൻ की अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की समूह श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि और भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोविंद श्याम वृंद राधा वृंद गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर धाम की मधुरपुरी धाम की कर्नाटक धाम की द्वारकापुरी धाम की गंगामाई की यमुनामाई की देवी की देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Shivaya Krishna Prasthaya Mudare Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Prajarini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadesha Dharini. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 संसार सागरे लब्धं बीजमां घटमायिते कर्मकरहरिकान्तं माधुर्यवार्णवान् श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षविषये श्रीकृतोऽसि मया माता मुख्यतं भवसागरे मनोगते मयीयोऽयं सदा सर्वदा निर्विघ्नेन कर्तव्यं दासोऽहं तव केशव भवे भवे यदा भक्ति आदयो सर्वजायते तदा पुरुषदेवेश मानसम्मोदितप्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनं तं नमामि हरिं परम् जन्माद्यस्य यतोन्मयादितरते सविघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति तेजोपादितं यदा विमयो यस्वर्ति सर्वो वृषा दानास्येन सदा निरस्तभूतं सत्यं परं धीमहि ब्रह्मप्रोचितैकबोधनमो निर्मत्सराणां सदा प्रेयं वासवस्त्रवसुशिवतं भावप्रयोगमोहनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते विभावरे ईश्वर सत्यो ब्रह्मवर्त्यनेत्रकृति शुश्रूषुरी लक्षणा निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं धनं शुभमपादमुदग्रहस्मिलं पिबतभारतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रस्याहुविभावुका सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय किशोरपत्यादिहेतवे कालत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः यं प्रकृतं हरिवेदवेदकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहावराजुहाव पुत्रेति जन्मयत्तरोगिनेषु तं सर्वभूतहृदयं निमानतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपमतितीर्थं तमोघं संसारिणां कर्णयाभपुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये कमनीयकिशोरमुग्धमूर्ते कल्पेन्दुमुनिगाभिदाननिन्दो मम वाचिजम्भदामुरारे मधुरिणां कनिकाभिगाभिगाभि नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णदासाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पीताम्बरं कविताविदप्रशङ्गं कौमोदगी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायमतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातावरेशमनिशं हृदि भावयामि कोमलं पूजयं वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारक वेदवेद्यपरं ब्रह्म वासदां पुरतो मम मूलं करोति वाचालं मधुरं वेदेयं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णाय नमः सर्वत्र गोविन्दनामसंकीर्तनं गोविन्द गोविन्द. Last Sunday, when we talked about the household ashram, Grahastha ashram, Krishna mentions some important instructions to all the householders. Particularly, Krishna says, in household life, stay like a guest. That is the message. Stay like a guest if you don't want to get into trouble. Otherwise, if you get attached anywhere, that nisangatvam, that is the point Krishna is making there. Never to feel attached anywhere under all circumstances. Once you get attached, Krishna says you are inviting trouble in so many different ways, from all sides, from inside as well as from the outside. So that is why we were discussing that Krishna, and eventually Krishna himself tells in a few verses at the end that how a householder mind gets very absorbed in the others, in other family members, and they suffer because of that. This is, they say, Ahome Pidaro Buddho Bharya Bharatma Jalpaya. He says, Anadha Mamadevina Kadam Jivani Dukhidaha. Krishna says, Ahome Pidaro Gino Bharya Bharatma Jalpaya. This is talking about the householder, but equally applicable to every member in the family also. You have to think like that. Bharya Bharatma Jalpaya. And Anadha Mamadevina Kadam Jivani Dukhidaha. Krishna saying that the attachment is such a thing that once you are caught in that, then naturally it will be very difficult to break away from that. Very difficult to break away from that. Therefore he says like that. That Home Pidaro Vriddha Bharya Bhalal Najatnaja. Looking at all the family members, the householder is thinking, if I have gone, what will happen to all of them? All these thoughts comes to his mind. Anadha Mamadevina. In my absence, what will be their situation? Because that is where the Maya works. Maya catches us at that point. That Maya makes us think that it is due to our august presence that the house is running well. And you will notice that once we have gone also, household life go on. It's not going to stop with that. That what is the point in misery, feeling misery about it? And evam grihashaya kshitham kudayo mudhakiram adrutha ananadhyayam pradondham vishale tamaha. Krishna says, evam grihashaya kshitham. In that way, completely attached in the householder to the home, grihashaya kshitham. Kshithaharayo mudhaki, I am. Krishna is a mudha, one who is stuck in that state. He said, Mudadhi I am. Aduruttastan Anudhyayam Pradondham Vishane Namaha. Adruttastha Anudhyayam, that he is always Adrutta and never satisfied with anything in this world, continuously accumulating for the sake of the family and feeling a great happiness in that, the bliss from there. Adruttastha Anudhyayam Pravishyam Madhavandham Vishade Tamaham. Such a person, Krishna says, he has to eventually go to the lower species or to the lower species of life or lower planets V1 in some extent. Melpatur mentions that in the Narayani very nicely. He says that Ahaha Bahulahimsam Sanjidate Kudumbam Pradinam Anipushnan Strijido Balalali Visharihi Grahasatam Yatanam Maya Bhakta Kabilatanviditwam Devahutye Negatil. That Ahaha Bahulahimsam in household life, you can see yourself how when big people in this world, when their attachment to the household is very strong, they lose all their morals and values in life. They will do even things which are not proper in their even we wonder why. Even after reaching very higher positions in the material life, you can observe that all the time. And having sufficient money to live in this world, still breaking all the rules of the world, rules of the society, and going out of control and accumulating wealth in that way. That is the symptom of that. That's what he's saying. Ahahavahulahimsam. That without being so violent towards others, not considering, not even least consideration for others, and accumulating wealth in that way. That you can observe all the time. You sometimes wonder when all these big scandals happen, the top people who have got all big titles and very high income compared to the ordinary person, and still that desire for accumulation. Why is that? Such an attachment to that household life. That's where it is retaining from. Ahahabahulahimsam. That and they will not feel any reluctance to do anything in this world to get their way through in that. To get their way in this world. That's what Bhagavatam is saying. Ahahabahulahimsam Sanjidate Kudumbam. All this accumulation for the family. Accumulation of wealth for the family. There are so many cases, probably if you have also must have come across many. People have worked so hard and made so much money by corruption, by bribery and all kinds of shoddy dealings. They make money and suddenly one day drop out dead and gone from this world. And you wonder what was the idea behind all these things. That such a hard work was put in that direction. Ahahavahulahimsam. Only for one purpose. Sanjidate Kudumbam, collecting raking from everywhere, wherever money is available. What an illusion that is, isn't it? That's what Krishna is saying here. That Sanjidate Kudumbam, then Pradidinamanivushnan Strijido Balalali, that the only happiness they have in their life, only looking at their wife and children, all the time busy with that. Just seeing that is their only object of service. Prabhupada used to say about that sometimes in a very heavy way he used to speak about that. Srijido Balalali, that they couldn't come out of that pit what they are digging. Vishadi Grihasaktam, that asakti means that attachment to the griham, the home and to the family is so strong. Yadanam Maya Bhaktaham, that they are willing to go through any kind of misery for, and what will happen? They have no shelter in Krishna. That is the sad thing. That they never feel any shelter in Krishna. They feel shelter in the house, shelter in the bank account, shelter in the family, and shelter in the social circle. Everywhere else they feel the shelter except Krishna. This is the result of that. That's why it says there, Vishadihi Grihasaktam Yadanam Maya Bhakta. And Kapila Maharshi mentions this to Devahudi Devi in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Maharshi says this to Devahudi Devi. And that is the same thing Krishna is also saying here. Such a person, Adruttarthanadhyayam Bhagavantham Vishadikramam. that he is always dissatisfied in life, never any peace inside, constantly endeavoring for accumulation of wealth and desiring to build up more on what he already has, that the situation will happen. That is what Krishna is saying here. Anyway, with that, then he says here, Murdha Antham Vishade Kama, thinking about all his wealth, what he has accumulated, and the family, he will leave this world one day and he will go into the lower spaces. He has to go into the lower spaces. So with that, the 17th chapter finishes, and the 18th chapter, Krishna is talking about the two higher orders, Vanaprastham and Sannyasam. Vanaprastham and Sannyasam. So there are certain interesting things in this chapter. Just like we saw in the earlier Brahmachari ashram, Grahastha ashram. That's the two ashramam they have Krishna has discussed in the 17th chapter, and in this 18th chapter, Krishna talks about Vanaprastha ashram and Sannyasa ashram. Shri Bhagavan Vacham Vanam Vivikshu Pupreshu Bharyanyasya Sahaiva Vanam Eva Se Chandra Pridiyam Bhagavanisham Vanam Vivikshu Pupreshu Bharyanyasya Sahaiva Vanam Eva Se Chandra Pridiyam Bhagavanisham Vanam Vivikshu Pupreshu Bharyanyasya Sahaiva Ayushaha Pridiyam Bhagam Mani Eva Vase. Krishna is saying a householder who wants to move on to the Vanaprastha ashramam, he should hand over his wife to the son to look after, or if she is willing to come with him to the forest, they can go together to the forest in the third quarter of their life, which means generally it is classified these 4 quarters. First quarter is 25 years, second quarter householder life is 25 years, and then the next quarter 25 years for the Vanaprastha ashram, and then the remaining for the householder. This Vanaprastha ashram purpose is that Sannyasa. So the purpose of the Vanaprastha ashram is to prepare a person who lived comfortably in householder life through renunciation and forcefully withdraw the senses from sense enjoyment. You know that in household life there is a lot of comfort, isn't it? You can decide what prasadam you want. You can decide all sorts of comforts in household life is offered. So when one is lived that life for 20 or 25 years, it is very difficult to come out of that household life. So Krishna's point is that as a preparation to Sannyasa ashram, this Vanaprastha ashram enforces certain tight control on the senses. Very tight control on the senses. That is what we are going to read from now on. And it is very difficult when you read that Vanaprastha ashram to follow what Krishna is talking about here in this modern world. Now people are going to Vanaprastha ashram, but they carry the credit card, mobile phone, everything with them in their Vanaprastha ashram. But Krishna's Vanaprastha ashram, what Krishna has spoken here, if you read that, you will wonder how many Vanaprastha ashram is going on in the way Krishna has spoken here. But there were people like that, there is no doubt about that. There were people who have gone through that Vanaprastha ashram in that way. But today, if you look at it, it will be absolutely a shocking situation that somebody who could do that, follow this Vanaprastha ashram. But he says here that he should stay from 50 years onwards, he should go into Vanaprastha ashram. Until 75, he should live in the Vanaprastha stage. And depending on at what stage during that 25 years, when he feels that he had got sufficient control on the mind, control on the senses, and total renunciation has come to him, then he can move on to Sannyasa ashram. Otherwise not. So practically, how much time one should live in Vanaprastha ashram depends on his detachment, renunciation, knowledge. And renunciation, knowledge and bhakti. Bhakti, of course, is a part of that. So, so at some stage, Sannyasa ashram is also recommended. So, Vanamiruksha Putreshu Bharyanyasya Sahayava. The only requirement is that the wife should not be left helplessly wandering in this world. So she has to have some shelter. So based on that Vedic system, that she should either stay in the childhood, as we know, under the protection of the father, after marrying the protection of the husband, and then under the protection of the son later on. All this is the system that is followed in Varnashram Dharma. So based on that, Krishna is saying here that at the age of 50 one should leave. And wife can accompany the husband to the forest if she wants to go, if she is willing to accept that austerity of the forest life. If she is willing to accept that, the choice is left to her, what she wants to do. If you look at the Bhagavatam, you will see some instances the wives have followed the husband, isn't it? Like Ritu Maharaj went to the forest, Archis followed him. And she followed him all the way through, and Ritu Maharaj left the body, and she jumped into that fire and gave up her body from that. That example is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, that was in the Satyuga that these things have happened. Now, here we were discussing this, that the habits of a person who was taken to Vanaprastha, who is going to Vanaprastha. You will also notice that in the Vedam there are 4 different sections. Mantram, Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Upanishad. Generally, mantra means that's the one what you learn during the Brahmacharya ashram, mantra. Brahmanam is what you learn, what you use in the household life. Brahman. You see Shabada Brahman and many other Brahmanas mentioned in the Upanishad, in the Veda. So, Brahmanam is used for performing sacrifices in the household life. Then Aranyakam is what is in the Vanaprastha ashram. Aranyakam means forest. Vanaprastha ashram is Aranyakam. And then Upanishad's knowledge is kept for the sannyasa ashram. Upanishad's knowledge is kept for sannyasa ashram. Mainly being, only then you will understand what Upanishad is saying. Only at that stage. After living in this world, passing through these 3 different ashramam of Brahmana, Brahmachari, Grahastham, Vanaprastham, if one has gone through that properly, then Upanishad's knowledge will have some effect on that person, will easily accept it in the sannyasa ashram. That is why in sannyasa ashram it is spoken as the ashram for the Upanishads. So that is a Mantram Brahmanam Aranyakam Upanishad, Brahmachari, Grahastham, Vanaprastham, sannyasa. It is not familiar. So anyway, but Vanaprastha ashram is spoken in the Vedam, the rules and regulations for Vanaprastha. Next verse. Kandamura bhaler vanyir medher vrutim bhagalpayet vasidavakalam vasatra varnajinanijam. Kandamura bhaler vanyir medher vrutim bhagalpayet vasidavakalam vasatra varnajinanijam. Medhehi vanyehi kandamula bhalehi vrutim pragalpayet. The food what one eats in Vanaprastha ashramam should be very pure. And that means he should collect the food himself. He is not allowed to beg. In Vanaprastha ashram you are not allowed to beg. You are allowed to collect from the forest. That means the roots, the fruits, and things like that, leaves, all those things you can collect from the forest and live on that. No shopping. Shopping is not allowed. So you have to live your bodily, that means the urge for the stomach to get a control over it. You are allowed to collect food, that fruits and roots and nuts or whatever that is available in the forest, leaves and things like that. One can collect them, he should live on that. And what else? Valkaram trinavarnajina nijavasaha vasitaha. Clothes, again. He can use the skin from the trees, bark of the trees, or grass, or leaves, or even skin from the dead animals. All of them he can use for covering the body. Basically the idea is to somehow or the other get rid of this attachment to this body. That is the principle behind it. Principle behind it. Because, you see, no matter how much we hear Upanishads and Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and all that, in practical life, if there is no practice of it, there is no practical life if you don't do it, it will be very difficult. It will remain on a theoretical level, isn't it? Very much on a theoretical stage. That is why the Varnashram Dharma has created that many of them, they went through that process very easily, because when the society accepts that and the society does it, it's not difficult. The difficulty is that when one person decides to do it and he has to fight against the society about this, then it becomes the whole society is centered around getting more clothes and more comforts and facilities in life. And Varnashram Dharma is saying that the attachment to the body one should give up, get yourself free from that. So the idea of all this is the attachment to the body must go, practically inside. Inside that attachment to the body must go. So therefore, in Vanaprastha Ashram they say that you wear what's available from the nature. What's available from the nature, like the grass and the leaves, and you can make clothes from that, put it together and cover your body with that way. And you are not allowed to sleep on the beds. You have to sleep on the ground. Sleep on the ground. Kesharohanashmasho malani vibraya pradam nadavera sumajeda tragalam sandileshayaham Kesharohanashmashumalani bhaya vibraya pradam nadavera sumajeda tragalam sandileshayam Kesham romam nakham shmashu malani vibraya dadaha nadhave. Krishna is saying the hair and on the head and the body and the nails, beard and all those things you should not cut down. None of them should be cut or clean should not happen. And if the body gets dirty, you should not get too concerned about the body. Otherwise, how will the attachment to the body will go? How will it go? And he says that not even brush the teeth. Dentist job finished. No Vanaprastha will go to dentist. That means he's saying there that even when he says like that, then he says not havera sumajena. That means just this should not become a serious issue, how to keep the teeth clean all the time. This is all our subtle attachment to the body, isn't it? That the teeth should be always regularly checked and it should be clean and all kinds of things. So Vanaprastha Ashram, Krishna is saying, you can wash them out, you can clean whatever is available, but whatever is available in the forest, you can use and clean that. That's allowed. But not go overboard to buy things from shops. Some people go to Vanaprastha Ashram taking all the Colgate toothpaste and everything. That's not allowed. That's what Krishna is saying. What's available in the forest, you can use that. Sometimes you use these neem trees and twigs and all that. So you're allowed to do that, but not anything more than that. Nadhavi apsuman jena, then apsu trigalam majena, apsu trigalam majena. And they should bathe in the water 3 times a day. Morning, midday and the evening. They should bathe in the water. Standileshya, and they should sleep on the ground. They should sleep on the ground. Principle is, you should not be too concerned about caring for the body. You should not be too concerned about caring for the body. That is the idea behind it. Not too much excessive attachment to the body. That is what the idea behind it is. And you can see, otherwise, whatever we study, Krishna is talking to us in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam about the soul. In depth, he talks about the soul, isn't it? So we are learning all these things about the soul, and then we maintain total attachment to the body. That is not a very nice thing. That's not a very nice thing. That is why Krishna is saying this, that this Varnashram Dharma helps, because it's a structured system whereby man goes through his life and eventually leaves this body without any attachment. That means before old age comes and totally becomes helpless. If before that, if we can break the connection with the body, we have escaped from the problem. That is the idea. Before that happens, or before the old age comes, if our attachment to the body has gone, connection to the body is broken, then after the death, there is no need to come back again and accept another body. Isn't it? So that's why it is spoken like that. Dehastovi na dehastha. Vidwan swapnani yadhotida. Adehastovi dehastha. Kumadi swapnadrugyatha. That verse earlier Krishna spoke. Grishme tapeda panjati. Varshasva swarashanjare. Agandhamadna shishya. Evam bhakta samachare. Grishme tapeda panjati. Varshasva swarashanjare. Agandhamadna shishya. Evam bhakta samachare. Grishme panjagni tapeda. In the summer, Panjagni means sun on the top and all four sides fire burning. In the middle of that, one should sit down and perform penances. That is called Panjagni Vidya. It is in the Upanishads also mentions. Prabhupada mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita also Panjagni Vidya. You will see there, somewhere in the 12th, 13th chapter. Panjagni Vidya, there are so many Vidya. Vidya means so many processes for developing this renunciation. Panjagni Vidya, Akshipurusha Vidya, Upavasana Vidya, Dahara Vidya, Puhaga Vidya, so many Vidyas usually mentioned like that, what they mean in different ways. Panjagni Vidya is to sit in one place under hot sun and all around fire burning and performing, sitting there and meditation in there, dhyana inside that. That is Panjagni Vidya. So, Grishme Panjagni Tapye, Varshasu Asarasha Bhave. Similarly, while it is raining, when it is heavily raining, one should sit in the rain and leave the attachment to the body in that way. Attachment to the body in that way. Shishire Jale Aganda Madmaha Bhave. In the winter season or when it is cold weather, one should go in the water up to the neck and perform Udagamvasana. That is the penances they perform inside the water, standing underneath inside the water. Evam Mruttaha Tavaschare. Similarly, you should give sufficient austerities in this way for the body. For the body, one should perform severe austerities like that. By doing like that, what will happen? Our attachment to the body will go. Otherwise, this attachment will never go. Attachment will never go. We will put cushion everywhere, on the sides, to sit. I'm hurting here, so let me put another cushion here. Stick another cushion on the other side. And all the tablets and pills, everything from the chemist, you will have to look for. So this is the idea is that the attachment should go, and that is forcefully done. Forcefully done. Agnipakvam samasniya kalapakvamatha aviva ulukharashmakuttova dandolukharevavam. Agnipakvam samasniya kalapakvamatha aviva ulukharashmakuttova dandolukharevavam. Agnipakvam samasniya athava kalapakvam asniya. He is allowed to cook. He is allowed to cook. And or he can eat fruits which are ripe, but due to, when the fruits are ripened, you can eat them. Ulukhana ashma kutova dando ulukhana evava. Or he can, the grains what he has picked up from the ground or from, there are different grains which you can pick up from the field, you can use that. And you can grind that in the stone, or if there is any facility for mortar in the forest, you can grind that there, and that you can utilize for your grains. And if you have no possibility of doing that, you can use your teeth. Krishna is saying, you can use your teeth to grind grains. Swayam samjinuya sarvam almanurtigaranam deshagalamala nadadidanyadahranam almanurtigaranam swayam sanjinuya. Vanaprastha ashrama, he should burn his own and he should collect the food himself. He should collect the food himself. And the principle is that he should go when he needs the food and collect it. That's all. He is not allowed to store, like at home we store everything, isn't it? Rice, wheat, atta, everything he keeps storing. That's not allowed. Well, he is only allowed to go into the forest and collect what he needs for that particular time. That's why I say, Agmano Uddhigaranam Swayam Sanchaniya. And Swayam Sanchaniya and Deshagala Malaviyaha Anyada Ahadam Anyada Nabahida. Because he knows Deshagala. Deshagala means he knows the time and place what he should know. In other words, he should know that in this season these are the things that will be available in the particular forest when he is in the Vanaprastha ashram. This kind of fruits or this kind of nuts or this kind of food he can collect. This awareness should be there in him. We should know what is the season, what are the season, what he should look for. And kind of food what he also should know what suits him for his body and he should make that decision. And he should collect the food and eat them, never store them. Never store them. That means if he has collected food for lunch, he can have the lunch. And then he should not keep it for the evening. This keeping business is a dangerous thing. Particularly this food also. So that's why it's forbidden that to get rid of that attachment to the concept of family life. That is how this Vanaprastha ashram is designed. Somehow or the other, to break away from that shelter. Next time when if he is hungry in the evening, he can go and bring more and have again. At the same time, we should not spend the whole day thinking about food, where will I get it? That's not the idea behind it. So you can see how rigid the rules are in relationship with Vanaprastha ashram. He is not allowed to store, he is only allowed to collect what he needs. And if he collects, he should use it. He should not throw away food either. All these things are there in that. Vanyeshchari Gurudashe Nurvamed Kalachodhinan Nadushravdena Pashuna Mam Yajeta Vanashrami. Vanyeshchari Gurudashe Nurvamed Kalachodhinan Nadushravdena Pashuna Mam Yajeta Vanashrami. Vanye Charu Gurudashe Kalachodhinan Nurvamed Vanashrami Shaudena Pashuna Mam Yajeta. Says here, in the householder life, he was used to performing sacrifices. And there he required charu and gurodasha. Charu is the house that you offer into the fire, for which you have, in the householder life, you have the opposite or possibility of charu made from ghee and from other things, which is used as charu. Purodasham is a kind of a cake that's made from rice. And those things are called Purodasham and Charu because that is the technical word while performing sacrifices. Charu and Purodasham. But he has to perform sacrifices even while in Vanaprastha ashram. But at that time he should not have to bother about these things. He can change that into fruits or the roots or the leaves what he has got in the forest. He can use that for that purpose. Nadu Shaudena Pashuna Mam Yajeta Vanashrami. Vanashrami Vanye Charipurodashe Kalachodhinan Bhave Vanashrami Shaudena Pashuna Mam Yajeta. Now some sacrifices there is animal sacrifice involved, Pashu. But once you come to Vanaprastha ashram, no himsa, no violence is allowed. No violence is allowed. So this issue of killing animals in the sacrifice is a big thing, isn't it? Many people feel very strongly against that, about killing animals in the sacrifice. Killing animals in the sacrifice is a very, it is there in the Vedam. It is there. And you will notice that while an animal is sacrificed in some of those sacrifices, the idea is that the animal will receive a higher birth after leaving this animal's body. That is guaranteed to the animal. All the mantras which are chanted at the time of the animal sacrifice, the very meaning of that is to elevate their soul to a higher position, So many years ago, there was a strong objection of animals being used in the sacrifice. So, because it became a very critical issue, some of the learned Yajurvedis who were performing the sacrifices, they had to sacrifice an animal, and they created an animal out of rice flour, and they had to make an animal with the rice flour mixed with ghee and other things too, and use that as an animal in the sacrifice. The animal's life is offered as a sacrifice only with the idea that the animal receives a better life after the sacrifice. That is the principle behind it. There are many animals, you can see like Ashwamedham sacrifice, horses are sacrificed in that. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed many Ashwamedham sacrifices. Prachina Maharaj performed many Ashwamedham sacrifices. And that's all a part of that. But it is not done with the idea of violent killing of the animal in that sense that the animals are even killed in a very unusual way. Their breathing is blocked and they are killed. You will wonder why all this, it is there in the Veda, that it is blocked, their breathing is blocked and the animal is killed in the sacrifice. But once you come to Vanaprastha ashram, it is not allowed. There is no killing allowed. So therefore such yajna, such sacrifice is not allowed for the Vanaprastha ashram. Agnihotram jadarshascha purnamaasascha purvavat chadurmasyani muni amnadani nagamaihi. Agnihotram jadarshascha purnamaasascha purvavat chadurmasyani muni amnadani nagamaihi. Agnihotra dini muni purvavat naigami amnadani bhavanti. While he was a householder, what you have to remember here is, this is a society Krishna is talking about who followed everything very rigidly in their householder life. This Agnihotram, Dashapurna Masam, Chadurmasyam, they were all very strictly followed by the householder. All those sacrifices of Agnihotram, Dashapurna Masam, Chadurmasyam, he should, Vanaprastha must execute, but with what is available in the forest. Not otherwise. Because if he does that, what will happen is that he says here that while as a householder, when he has executed, he had desires to fulfill. But once he has come to Vanaprastha ashram, there is no more desires left in him. For householder has different desires, isn't it, in him. But in the Vanaprastha ashram, there is no permission to give anything like that, and the result will be evam chirnena tapasa muniruddhamani sandada mam tapomayama aradhya rishiloka upaiti mam evam chirnena tapasa muniruddhamani sandada mam tapomayama aradhya rishiloka upaiti mam. Muni evam chirnena tapasa dhamani sandada tapomayam mam aradhya rishiloka mam upaiti. Now, he says, if you go into Vanaprastha ashram and if you execute this rigidly, like the way Krishna has spoken here, what will happen is he will lose all the body will become very thin, isn't it? And Krishna says here, Munir Dhamani Samnada. You can see all the veins and the bones and everything. It's such a severe, due to the severe austerity. Your body will become very, lose all the flesh and it becomes very, very thin. And you are just only a bag of bones there, isn't it? Munir Dhamani Samnada. So, Mam Tamoyam Aradhya, Rishi Logat Ubekma. Krishna is saying, if a person has done like that, he will go to Maharloka. Now, this is what we should know. Maharloka, we have got now Bhulokam, Bhorlokam, Sokalokam. Bhubhubhasvaha. So, this Bhulokam, this is our earthly planet. We perform karma. We perform karma and you can get happiness here and you can get distress also here in this world. Result is happiness and distress both mixed here. Bhorlokam and Soglokam is higher planets than the earthly planet. You go there but you can experience only happiness there, not any distress like the way we do here. Golokam and Solokam. Why? Because they are also in the Karma Mandala. Only through Karma you can get there. Now, if you look at all the planets above the earthly planets, Bhulokam, Borlokam, Solokam, then after that, there is Maharlokam, Janalokam, Tapolokam, Satilokam. These are above that. Now, this Bhulokam, Bhorlokam, Swarlokam, these are in the Karma Mandala. Janalokam, Tapolokam, Satilokam, they are in the Jnana Mandala. Jnana Mandala means that those who have realized the truth, they can go there. Once you have become self-realized, you can go there and live there. All the great sages, they live in Janalokam or Tapolokam or Satyalokam. They live there. Great personalities. In between this Bhulokam, Borlokam, Sorlokam and Janalokam, Tapolokam, Satyalokam, there is one lokam called Maharlokam. That Maharlokam is the place where you have reached a very higher stage in knowledge, but there is still some prarabdha left. Some karma is still left to be finished. You go to that Maharlokam. You go to the Maharlokam. This is how that setup is. That we have Bhulokam, Bhorlokam, Sorlokam, which is all in the field of karma. It is within the field of karma. But once you have more or less released from this karma means karma vasana and our karma mandala. Karma mandala means every jiva who had come here, he is under the control of karma. He is under the control of karma. And this is escaping from this karma is the most difficult thing, isn't it? Karma vasana and karma mandalam. It's a very difficult thing. So once you are released from here, then you go into Maharlokam. But it is possible that there is still some karma vasana left in that person. He will have to stay in Maharlokam. That depends. That is Krishna's decision where he should be. But one who has completely realized the truth, self-realization has happened, he will go to Janalokam, Tapolokam or Satyalokam. Personalities like Sudeva Goswami and all, they live in Janalokam or Tapolokam. And Satyalokam is Brahma's planet, Lord Brahma's planet. So you go to either of those three, wherever it is. You will see when Shuddhi Gita was discussed. You remember that chapter, 87th chapter, the 10th canto. There, Sridhara Maharishi talks about the discussion happened in Janalokam. That discussion happened in Janalokam, he says. About Vedas personified their glorification of Krishna. That discussion happened in the Janalokam. Even the sages were present there. 4 Kumaras were there. Sangha Maharishi, one of the Kumaras were present and other sages were there. And Sridhara Maharishi talks about that. So that discussion happens in the Janalokam, higher than the Maharlokam. So Maharlokam is in between. Below is the Karmalokam, above is the Jnanalokam. This Jnanam and Karma, these are the two main principles spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhakti is not. Why? Bhakti is everywhere necessary. Whether you are a jnani, whether you are a karmi or doesn't matter, whichever yoga system you follow, either Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, Bhakti is a part of that. You can't separate that from there. Nobody can become self-realized without Bhakti. So that is why Bhakti is not spoken specifically as a yoga system. If you remember that when we discussed the third chapter, there was a verse there, isn't it? What was that verse? Logesmin divida anishta pura proktamaya nikha. Remember? Logesmin divida anishta. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Arjuna, there is only two processes. What is that? Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. These are the two processes. Krishna says that. This is from time immemorial. There's only these two processes. Jnana yogena sankhyana, karma yogena yoginam. So jnana yogam and karma yogam. These two processes. And you can see the two dynasties also. Solar dynasty followed the jnana yogam and lunar dynasty followed the karma yogam. Isn't it? So jnana yogam, karma yogam. Jnana yogena sankhyana, karma yogena yoginam. Similarly, the planets also, the Jnana Yogam who has followed and realized the truth, they go to the higher planets like Janalogam, Tamologam, Satyalogam. Vasishta and other great sages, they live in those planets. Many great sages, they live in those planets. Jnana Yogena Sankhana. Karma Yogena Yoginam. One who has escaped from the karma, from the grip of karma, they will either, if they have finished with karma and they have realized the truth, then they go back to spiritual world. They go back to the spiritual world. This liberation also, it happens in two levels. One, instantaneous liberation. Suppose right here, while living in this world, in this body, if you have realized the self, then it may not be necessary to go through this road. You may go back to spiritual world straight away after leaving the body. The other option is that this gradual liberation. That means you go through this karma mandalam, through the jnana mandalam, and then back to the spiritual world. Once you have gone to Janalogam, Tamologam, Satyalogam, you don't come back. You go back from there either together with Brahma or after, before, or when the time comes, he will be released from there to go back to the spiritual world. You don't come back here again. So that is why the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna spoke about that, he said, Logesmin Dvida Nishta. Only these two kinds of Nishta. Nishta means the process was present. He says, Puraprodhamayanaka. Arjuna, listen to them that it has been existing from time immemorial. This Dvida, the two kinds of process. What are they? Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. Jnana Yogam, process through which the self-realization happens, or through the process Karma Yogena Yogina. Yogis have followed the Karma Yoga process. So those two things. So that is where it is coming here, that Mam Tapomayam Aradhya Rishiloka Vedi Mam. He will go to Rishiloka. Rishiloka means this Mahalogam, they will go if Harad Manamuni Evam Chir, the person who has gone through this Vanaprastha Ashram properly, then Krishna is saying he has a choice to go here, to this Mahalogam. He will go to Mahalogam. But if he becomes fully realized here through bhakti and through knowledge, from here he can go straight to spiritual world. To the self-realization can happen to him. So those who couldn't make it here in this life, those who couldn't make it, either through bhakti or through knowledge, either way, through jnana or bhakti, who couldn't make it, they have this way of going back through Mahalogam. They can go to Mahalogam and from Mahalogam go further from there. After they finish their karma from there, they can go back to the higher planets and back to the spiritual world. So that is why the importance of that verse. Evam chirmena tamasa munirdhamani sandana mam tapomayamaradhya rishiloka ubehi imam. And after saying that, Krishna says there that the person who uses this body, one who still uses this body, or austerities he has performed, And he uses their austerities for temporary happiness in this world. Just like, Yasvedad Krichavaschirnam Tapo Nishreyasam Maham Kama Alpiyase Injya Balisha Koparastadaham Yasvedad Krichavaschirnam Tapo Nishreyasam Maham Kama Alpiyase Injya Balisha Koparastadaham Yastu Nishreyasam Maham Krichanam Chirnam Tabaha Alpiyase Kamaya Injya Tato Balisha Aparaha Kaha. Krishna says, whoever executed this Vanaprastha in so rigidly, he has performed so rigidly, and the result is that you will acquire a lot of strength inside, isn't it? Strength from the austerity. You will acquire that strength from austerity. That strength, what he has got it, if he uses for some temporary material happiness, Krishna is saying that is the worst thing to do. Sometimes people have that tendency when they develop, because when there is a lot of austerity in life, naturally any sankalpam one develops inside, that desires gets fulfilled due to that strength of the austerities. So Krishna is saying here that Tapo Nishreyasam Mahad, that was meant for self-realization, and this austerity he has performed, if it is used for some useless things, to get some little limited happiness in this world, Krishna says, who is more unfortunate than him? Who is more unfortunate than him? So, why it is like that is, even after going to the Vanaprastha ashrama, if he reaches that Mahalokam, sometimes Prarabdha won't let him go. Prarabdha is a very powerful factor. Prarabdha is a very powerful factor. So because of not only that, while executing Vanaprastha ashrama here, a situation can happen that you can get very sick. You can get very sick. Suppose you had no austerity in life and you decided to try it out, this Vanaprastha ashrama once. And you decide to become very austere in life, controlling like the way Krishna is saying, going to the forest and collecting the food from the forest. It's possible that you will get sick, isn't it? You may get sick otherwise also, even if you live here also, it's possible that you will get sick. There's no guarantee that nothing. But while in Vanaprastha ashrama, if you get sick, and it becomes difficult to continue in the Vanaprastha ashrama, if a stage happens like that, what should one do? Even Krishna has answered that question in the Bhagavatam. That means, suppose you found the situation that in the Vanaprastha ashrama, it has become totally difficult. That means you cannot maintain yourself. The body cannot be maintained anymore. You got so sick. And sometimes what people have come back to family life again after going on, gave it a try and didn't work and they couldn't do it. So especially sometimes when you read books and you think about doing it, it's not that easy, isn't it? It's not that easy. So they got and tried and didn't work and they came back. But sometimes some people are very determined. They have decided to go in that route and they got sick. When such a situation happens, Krishna is saying there that there is one option there at that time. It's not a very pleasant option. Krishna says that you light the fire and hand over the body to that fire and go. That is the choice. That is the choice. In other words, if sufficient detachment has happened inside for the body, then all these things can happen. It is possible also. They have done that in the past. But it is a situation which one should be very conscious of, what that Vanaprastha ashrama is talking about. So, the main thing here, one who gets, and he says, Vairagyam, if it comes complete Vairagyam, one develops in the Vanaprastha ashram, he can move into Sannyasa ashram. If he doesn't have that, and he cannot execute, he hasn't developed sufficient Vairagyam, sufficient renunciation in this life. And at the same time, he is unable to continue his Vanaprastha ashram. He has no strength in him. What he should do? That's what he says in the next verse. 11. Yada aso niyame akalpo jaraya jagave pathu almani agnim samaharopyam machitotnim samavishen. Yada aso niyame akalpo jaraya jagave pathu almani agnim samaharopyam machitotnim samavishen. Yada jaraya jagave pathu नियमे अकल्पः च भवति तदा अग्निं आल्मनि समारोप्य मचितः सन् अग्निं समाविशेति. Because of the old age, the body is shaking, and unable to perform the duties of the Vanaprastha ashram. That means he can't go and collect the food what he wants. He has come to a stage like that. And becoming very helpless. In that state, only thing he should do, Krishna is saying here, that all the fire he has lighted, in the Vanaprastha ashram he still have the fire going on in the forest, what he has lighted. Thinking about that, he should enter into that fire. So, at that stage, suppose he hasn't reached any renunciation in his life, no Vairagyam has come. Krishna says he should not take sannyasa. He shouldn't take sannyasa. That is Krishna's instruction. Sannyasa and Vairagyam, it must be there together. Otherwise it's not possible to be a proper sannyasi. Vairagyam is a compulsory, a mandatory requirement for Vairagyam. If he has no Vairagyam, then he should take to sannyasa, he says here. And in the next verse, Krishna says, suppose you have enough Vairagyam, what we should do? Yada karma vibhageshu logeshu nirayalmasu virago jayade sammin astagni prapraje tadaha. Yada karma vibhageshu logeshu nirayalmasu virago jayade sammin astagni prapraje tadaha. Yada karma vibhageshu nirayalmasu logeshu Samyik viragah jayate tada nista agni tadaha pravrajet. Here, something important. Krishna says, Yada karma vibhageshu logeshu nirayalmasu. What does that mean? It means, karma vibhageshu. Karma takes us to all places, all different places. It is karma that takes us, isn't it? We do good karma, that will take us to higher planets. We do bad karma, it will take us into lower planets. Or if our activities are Krishna conscious, there's possibility that we will get another human body where we will continue to execute spiritual life. Or if we engage in abominable activities, the possibility that we may get some lower species in this world itself. So, what decides our next body? Karma, isn't it? Karma decides the next body. So that's why Krishna is saying here, Yada karma vibhageshu, karma vibhagam it is. All world, different places in the creation, wherever we are going, it's all karma vibhageshu. Karma makes a decision where you should go, not you. The karma decides where you should be going, the next life. Yada karma vibhageshu, logeshu, nirayalmasu. And wherever karma takes you, Krishna is saying, wherever karma takes you, all those places are temporary, and at the same time there is always misery in those places. There is always misery in the places. That means through karma, you cannot achieve self-realization. The freedom or liberation is not possible through karma. That's the question. Through karma, it is not possible. This is why when we discuss Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, the important thing to remember is Karma means what? Aham bodham there, isn't it? I am the doer. Kartrutvam is there. This kartrutvam and karma, these two things will only spoil our spiritual life. Will only spoil the spiritual life. Even if Krishna is showing some mercy to us, the moment we start thinking, oh, it's me who has done it and I got it from Krishna because of my effort, if you start thinking like that, even that little mercy that's coming from Krishna will go. It won't be there. That's the important thing. That's why karma cannot get you out from this bondage. Jnanam and bhakti, that is what liberates us from here. Knowledge and bhakti. Karma cannot do it. It's simply not possible. But escape from karma, Krishna gave us the clue how to free from the karma through karma yoga. That he has given the option. Karma yoga will help us to get rid of from the karma, not to have that problem from karma. Krishna said, make it karma yoga. But ultimately, jnana and bhakti is what frees us from releases us from this bondage. So here Krishna is saying here, yada karma vibhageshu lokeshu nirayalmasu. Wherever karma takes you, all those places are places of misery. There is misery there. There is not freedom there. There is totally misery there. And not only that, only when you have come to understand that through karma I can't escape from this situation, at that time you can take to sannyasa. Krishna says you can move on to, then you can give up fire. Agni. Agni means fire. Fire is for karma, isn't it? All the different Agnihotra, what they have to perform, all the other sacrifices as a householder, is all related with fire. So that is why in sannyasa ashram, when you enter into sannyasa ashram, fire is not anymore needed. They finish that there. They finish that there. Yada karma vibhageshu yogeshu nirayalpasu virago jayade samyastagni pravraje tata. So what he has to do there, first thing, that is what he says in the next verse. Ishtva yadhovadesham datva sarvasya ritvijem agniyan sopranama aveshya niraveksham parivrajem. Ishtva yadhovadesham buddhatva sarvasya ritvijem agniyan sopranama aveshya niraveksha parivrajem. Yadhovadesham mam ishtva sarvasam pratije datva Agnin soprani aveshi niravesham parivraje. Krishna is saying that Prajapatishthi means that is a sacrifice which is given with that name, and you should perform that and you should offer everything what he has got to the Ritviks. Ritviks means those who are assisting him in performing the sacrifices. Hodhava, Udghadhava, Adviryu, Brahman. There are the 4 Ritviks in the sacrifices. So all that 4, they should be given everything, and without niraveksha, without any desire, he can take to sannyasa ashram. So you can see from these verses, when Krishna is saying here that a sannyasi stage of consciousness, what he should be at that stage, how spiritually so way ahead of everyone else, isn't it? So much ahead of everybody else, he has to be. That full of jnanam, sannyasa lakshanam, full of knowledge and realization inside. In that stage, if he takes sannyasam, Krishna says that even if there is any other blocks coming there, he should not bother. That is what he says in the next verse. Sannyasam, there may be so many obstacles, but he should not bother and he should take to sannyasam at that stage. What is that? Viprasya vai sanyasado devadaya virupinaha Vignan kurvandayam hasman akramya samyaparam Sanyasado viprasya vai sanyasado devadaya virupina Vignan kurvandayam hasman akramya samyaparam Viprasya vai sanyasado devadaya virupina Vignan kurvandayam hasman akramya samyaparam Sanyasado viprasya devaha daradi rupinaha sandaha I am Asman, Adikramya, Param Samyad, Iti Vignan Kurvanti. Krishna says that a Brahmana who is taken to sannyasam at that stage, demigods will come to create trouble for him. His own wife, children, and they will come in those forms. If a Brahmana is going to decide to take sannyasa ashram, at that time, Viprasavai Sanyasado, Deva Dharani Rupina. He will come in form of his wife or in the form of children, and they will pull him back to householder life again. Pull him back to householder life again. Vignan Kurvani, I am Asman. And they will create a lot of obstacles for him. And Akramya Samayat Param. And because, why? Because they know very well, this particular Brahmana, if he takes sannyas, he will go back to the spiritual world. Demigods know about that. Because they know, they are envious of that. This envy and all is there also in the higher planets. This doesn't go away easily like that. So even they get affected by that, and they try to stop him by either the demigods appear in the family and some member very affectionate, showing a lot of affection to them, and he will fall into that trap. That's one possibility. Otherwise, demigods may invite him to come to their planets to visit them, and they will offer all the assistance to him and engage him there. Somehow or the other, they won't allow him to escape from here, in other words. So that's what another obstacle. But in spite of that, you should take sannyasam, Krishna is saying here. Viprasyavai sanyasado devadayadiyu vinaha vignan kurvanyayam asman akramya samayat param. Then one who has taken to sannyasam like that, his dharma, that is what Krishna is going to talk about now. Vibraya chayam nirvasam kaubina charanam param tektam nadandava akrabhyam anyal kinjidana navi anamadi vibraya chayam nirvasam kaubina charanam param Tettanna Dandavatrabham Anyat Kinchidana Pani Munihi Vasaha Vibriyache Kauvina Chadarambaram Vibriya. Sannyasi, he only needs a Kauvina. Krishna is saying, he only needs a Kauvina, nothing more than that. That's all, just a Kauvina only, that is sufficient, Krishna is saying. Only a Kauvina is sufficient. And still if he has some desire to cover the body, only to cover that Kaubinam he can have another cloth. Not up to the knee, right up to, not up to the ankles, but up to the knee he can cover. That's the maximum he is allowed, not more than that. Not more than that. More than that, Krishna says is unnecessary. For a sannyasi doesn't need that. So, Purvam Tektam Dandamatrabhyam Anyat Anabadi Na Vibhaya. Everything what he has given, he should not look back into it. And only his property, what he can carry with is one is this danda and the other one is the water pot. Kamandalu. Kamandalu and dandam, that is allowed, he can carry. So, Kamandalu for the water and dandam to inform, which is got a much more subtle level, so many things comes later. Then by dandam necessary and kamandalu. These are the only two wells what he has got. Nothing else to go after. Nothing more than that. He is not allowed to carry anything more than dandam and kamandalu. So, Purvam Tektam Dandamatrabhyam Anyat Anabhina Vibhaya. If he has given up, he had a lot of pots and other things before that, clothes, everything, he has to throw them away or give it away and not carry any more with them. So, when in the sannyasa ashram also, there are different stages. Bahodar, Kutichak, Paramahamsa and all that. Hamsa, Paramahamsa, like that. But there, Paramahamsa is the topmost stage, isn't it? Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means pure and completely beyond all the restrictions. He is not even controlled by rules and regulations. Dharma, adharma, vidhi, nishedam, do all these rules and regulations doesn't apply for him. And therefore, he is above everything. And because it's like that, there is not much spoken about Paramahamsa sannyasi here. What is spoken here is in the lower levels of sannyasa, which is Bahudat, Kutichaka and all that. So Bahudat, their dharma is what is being spoken in the next few verses. Drishtibodham yase padam, vastrabodham vivek janam, satyabodham vade dvajam, manabodham samacharil. Drishtibodham yase padam, vastrabodham vivek janam, satyabodham vade dvajam, manabodham samacharil. Drishtibodham yase padam, vastrabodham vivek janam, satyabodham vade dvajam, manabodham samacharil. Padam drishtibodham yase means Padam Drishtibodham yase. Before he puts his next step on the ground, he should see if there is any living entity there, so that he doesn't trample them. Even an ant or any other living entity. Drishtibodham yase Padam. Vastrabodham vivek jadam. If he has to drink water, because sometimes in the water also there could be some living entities, isn't it? So they should not be killed. Therefore he should filter them with the cloth and then drink the water. Satyabodham vade vacham. If he speaks anything, he should be so careful. Unless he knows what he is speaking is truth, he should not speak. He should only speak if he knows whatever he speaks is only the truth. Only truth should be spoken. Satyabodham vade vacham. Manapodham samachare. Before he does anything, he should think a lot before he engages in any activity. That is the strict code for the sannyasis. Drishtibodham yasedpadam vastrabodham vivek janam, satyabodham vade dvajam, manapodham samachare. Manapodham samachare. So sannyasa ashram, as Krishna talks about, is like that. Drishtibodham yasedpadam vastrabodham vivek janam. And satyabodham vade dvajam, manapodham samachare. So after that, mauna aniha nilayama danda vagdeha chedasam mahileyase samyanga verubhiranna bhavedhyati. Mauna aniha nilayama danda vagdeha chedasam mahileyase samyanga verubhiranna bhavedhyati. He anga vagdeha chedasam dandaha mauna aniha anilayamaha yasya nasandhi sa kevala verubhyati na bhaved. Uddhava. We have three karana means three tools in us. One is the word, another one is the body, and the third one is the mind. Isn't it? Body, mind, and the words. With the body we perform actions. With the mind we make the different ideas, thoughts we develop. And with the words we speak. This is called karanam, Trividha Karanam. That is Krishna calls it Trividha Karanam. So with these three, representing those three, is in sannyasam there are two different types of sannyasam. Ekadandi and Tridandi. Isn't it? Vaishnava sannyasis follow the Tridandi sannyasam. Jnana sannyasis, which are in the Advaita tradition, they follow the Ekadandi sannyasam. What is the difference? Difference is that in Vaishnava dharma, the stress is given on the control of the body, control of the mind, and control of the words. Control of the body, control of the mind, and control of the words. These three things representing that the three sticks, Tridandi. Three sticks are there. So what are they? Words can be controlled by silence, by being silent. You don't speak things what's not necessary. So the austerity for the word is silence. Austerity for the body is not to perform any fruitive activity in this world. Any activity what you do should be for the benefit of others in some form. So that is kamya karma abhavam. Kamya karma abhavam. That means you don't do anything for your own benefit, anything in this world. That is austerity for the body. And austerity for the mind is through the process of pranayama. Pranayama will purify all the chittavritti also to a large extent. So Krishna says here, Venubhir nabhavedhyati. Just by taking a Tridandam alone, you don't become a sannyasi. You don't become a sannyasi. So Tridandi, normally they are referred to as Tridandis, isn't it? But what exactly happens there is silence and giving up routine activities, pranayama, all these three things are representing those three sticks in the danda. This is the Tridandi sannyasam. Ekadanda sannyasam, the stress is given on jnana, on knowledge. Knowledge is the important factor. There it is spoken that the knowledge of self-realization, realizing the self as one, that oneness, that is what it is stressed to that Ekadanda, that one danda, carrying one danda, like the Advaitis follow, that process there. So Vaishnava Dandam is Tridandam, Advaiti Parampara is Ekadandam. Generally it is like Bhiksham Chaturushu Varneshu Vigrahyam Virjayam Schari Saptagaranasam Klabdan Tushye Labhena Dhavakam Bhiksham Chaturushu Varneshu Vigrahyam Virjayam Schari Saptagaranasam Klabdan Tushye Labhena Dhavakam. Now talking about food for the sannyasi, how the sannyasi should eat. Chaturushu Varneshu Vigrahyam Virjayam Asam Klabdan Saptagaran Bhiksham Chare. He can go and collect bhiksha. Bhiksha he is allowed. That means he can beg food from people. He is allowed, sannyasi is allowed. But he is only allowed maximum 7 houses. If after 7 houses, if he didn't get anything, he should come back. He should fast. He shouldn't eat. If the first 1 house or 2 houses, they have given enough food, then he should not go to the other 3 or 4 what is left. He shouldn't think every time I can go to 7 and collect as much as I can and keep it in stock. That is not allowed. What's allowed is, he can go, ask the first one, if they give you sufficient for their time, food, then you should take it and come back and eat that and be satisfied. But never more than that. Only for that time when he needs the food, he should go and collect. But maximum is only allowed 7, not more than that. And within that, whatever he can collect, he should collect and live on that what he has collected. Tamada Nabdhena Tushya. And what they have given, suppose somebody has given you some chapati in one house, and he went to the next one, he is also giving you chapati. He says, no, I don't want this, I want sabji now. Or I want dal now. You don't have such choices. In sannyasa ashram, there is no choice like that. Whatever that is given, you just take it and go. And that means you can't plan like that, like the way householder habits will come back, isn't it? So that's why it is said like that you have no decision-making power there. Whatever that is. So among the Brahmanas in the olden days, this is all gone now. This is nowadays where sannyasi is given the best treatment everywhere. So sannyasi gets the best mahaplate for him. So he enjoys that. Anyway, that's another side of it. What I'm saying is that in the past, when great personalities who followed sannyasa ashram rigorously, some of them will do such things. They will tie a unchamuti, they call it. They will have a copper pot. They will tie a rope around that and put it in the neck. And the pot will be in the front. They will sing some glorifying, some devotional songs they will sing and go to every house. They won't even ask for the food. They won't even ask for it. And those mothers who had that great culture in them, knowing very well that he has come for the food, they will collect some rice or in chapati, whatever they have, they will put it in that pot and send them away. And they will go to 1 or 2 houses till they have enough in that pot. The pot will be sufficient for just for one time only. So they won't collect more than that and they will go back. If you read Nagaraja's story, you will see he lived like that for most of his life in that way. He managed his life in that way. So there was personalities like that who followed it rigidly. So whatever we got it, to be satisfied with that. That is the important thing. That is important. Satisfied with what one has got. That is that principle behind it. It is a big thing, isn't it? To be satisfied in life all the time. Rather than always craving for more all the time. Endless desires, the building of Krishna says sannyasashram should never happen in that way. That's why he says here. Bhikshanam chadushu varneshu vigarhyan nirjayam chare saptavan asanklaptan tushyel adhyena tavada. So, bahirjalashayam gatvam tatrobasprashyava gyalaha vibhajya pavidam shesham bhujida sheshamaakradam. Bahirjalashayam gatvam. There's one more thing mentioned there in the previous verse. Krishna is saying that you should only accept from food from such family who have a reasonable reputation. You should not accept from people who have some bad activities going on in their house. You should know the family from where he is receiving this bhiksha. So, Bahirjanashayam yatva tattovas upasprashya vagyala vibhajya pavidam yesham bhunjidashesham ahradam. Behir Jalashayam Yatva Tatra Upasprashya Vagyara Pavidam Ahradam Vibhajya Shesham Bhujina. Krishna says that after he has received the food, what he has collected, he should bring it and then he should offer it to Krishna first. And after offering to Krishna, he can take it as prasada. That is what is allowed. He should not bring more than what is necessary, first thing. And if he has guests, say another sannyasi had come, whatever he has got, he should split it into half and give the other half to the other sannyasi who had come. Only to other sannyasi. And he should share it with him. He should share with him. Bhunjidashesham ahradam. Vibhajya pavidam shesham. Bhunjidashesham ahradam. So, then, Egascharin mahim medam nisanga samyadendriya alma krida alparada alpavan samadarshana. Egascharin mahim medam nisanga samyadendriya alma krida alparada alpavan samadarshana. Egascharin mahim medam. He should always be alone. He should always be alone. He should travel alone. Wander around the world alone. Egascharin mahimera. Nisanga samyagendriya. Nisanga, no attachment, no sangam, no attachment anywhere to this world. Samyadendriya. Always control, completely control senses. What else? That's the most important thing. Atma kridaha, atma radaha, atmavan samadarshana. Atma kridaha, atma radaha, atmavan. This is all from the Upanishads. Upanishad statement is this. Atma kridaha, always absorbed in the soul. Always absorbed in the soul. Atma kridaha. Atma radaha, complete attachment is at the soul, in the soul. Complete attachment in the soul. Atmavan is always situated on the platform of the soul. Samadarshanaha. Everything in this world is equal for him. No friends, no enemies, no raga, no dvesham, no attachment, no aversion, no attraction, no repulsion, nothing in this world. Samadarshanaha. Everywhere that equal vision is maintaining that. That is the sannyasa ashram. Sannyasa ashram is meant to be like that. Meant to be like that. Look at the modern world and the sannyasa ashram. It is full of raga dvesham, full of what do you say? I don't know what to say about that. It is such an extent. When Krishna is saying here, Alma Kridaha, Alma Radaha, Almavan Samadarshanaha. The sannyasi has no other engagement. Alma Kridaha, Alma Radaha, Almavan. For him, nothing exists outside the soul. Soul is the only shelter. Krishna is only shelter. Alma Kridaha, Alma Radaha, Almavan, Alma, soul, that fully fixed up in that state, Samadarshanaha, and able to live in this world in that way. So that's why I say here. So such a sannyasi, Krishna says here, that he should travel alone in this world. He should travel alone in this world. Viviktakshena sharano madbhava vimarashayaha almanam chindayet eka abhedena maya muni. Viviktakshena sharano madbhava vimarashayaha almanam chindayet eka abhedena maya muni. Viviktakshena sharanam madbhava vimarashayaha almanam Chindayadeva Abhedena Mayamini. Muni Vivikta Kshana Sharana. And Madbhava, that means Vivikta Kshana Sharana. He should always stay alone. Stay alone. And always look for isolation. Isolated places he should live in seclusion. And what else? Madbhava Vimalashayaham. Always dependent on Krishna. Always dependent on Krishna. And due to that bhakti inside, because he is in that state, there is pure bhakti inside the heart. With that, Atmanam Chindayedega Abhedena Mayamini, that he should see the Pratyatma, Krishna who is present inside as Ekam and non-different from the Super Soul. Non-different from the Super Soul. It is Krishna is talking about a Jnani Sannyasam here. That is why it is spoken like that. Jnani Sannyasam is like that he will come to that stage where he will realize that he is not different from the soul, is not independent from the Super Soul, is one. Pratyagatma and Paramatma is one, as far as the Jnanamargam is concerned. That's why it is spoken like that. Vivikta Kshema Sharano Madbhava Vimalashayaham Almanam Chindayedega Abhedena Mayamuni. Then Anvikshaya Atmano Bandham Moksham Jnana Nishtaya Bandham Indriya Vikshevo Mokshayesham Ja Samyamaha. Anvikshaya Atmano Bandham Moksham Jnana Nishtaya Bandham Indriya Vikshevo Mokshayesham Ja Samyamaha. Atmanaha Bandham Jnana Nishtaya Moksham Cha Anvikshaya. He should always think that due to ignorance, what stage he has reached, what has happened to him, he should be conscious of that. By cultivating ignorance, I got bound, I got stuck in this body, I got stuck in this situation. You should think like that all the time. I had to accept this body because of my avidya inside. Due to my entanglement with karma and karma vasana and avidya, I got this body, isn't it? So, he should be aware of that all the time. That Anvikshaya Altara Bandham, because of that bondage has happened. Mokshanja Jnana Nishtayam. He should also think, by constant cultivation of spiritual knowledge, how it leads to liberation. You should be aware of that also, both sides. The avidya side and the vidya side. Through avidya, how I got bound in this body, and through vidya, how I can escape from this body, accepting another body, how I can escape from that. And that is what Krishna says. Bandham Indriya Vikshevo Bandhaha Mokshaha Yesham Samyamascha Bhavati. And if you run after the senses, it is bondage. And if you stop the senses from enjoying, it is liberation. That's the way it is. If you stop running after the senses, if you go running after the senses, it is bondage. Still, it is going to get bound. And if you escape from the attachment to sense objects and you don't go after the sense enjoyment anymore, that leads to liberation. Krishna says, Tasman niyamya shadvargam madbhavena chare muni virattakshillamebhyo labdho atmani sukham mahan. Tasman niyamya shadvargam madbhavena chare muni virattakshillamebhyo labdho atmani sukham mahan. Tasman, therefore, shadvargam niyamya munihi. Shadvargam means that mind and the five senses. Shadvargam. That is a shadvargam. Controlling all of them and madbhavena chare muni, completely absorbed in Krishna, and virattakshillamebhyo, that he should be completely detached to this very limited enjoyment coming from the senses, sense enjoyment. Totally detached to sense enjoyment. Labdho atmani sukham mahal. Take shelter in the soul and enjoy the happiness that is coming from the soul. Enjoy the happiness that is coming from the soul. Now, a person who has reached that state, who is experiencing the happiness of the soul, he will not be attracted to the sense objects. But till one gets that happiness of the soul, he will still get attracted to the sense objects. That is what Krishna is mentioning there. When one starts experiencing the happiness of the soul, then there will be no more attraction for sense enjoyment. Naturally it will leave at that time. But till suppose you don't get it, you may not get that happiness from the soul. You have not reached that state yet. In which case, Krishna says he should be careful and that not to get trapped in the sense enjoyment again. So sense enjoyment is the most thing what has to be avoided at that stage. Puragrama Vajan Sarthan Vikshakham Pravisham Schare Punya Desha Sari Chayam Vanashamavati Mahim Puragrama Vajan Sarthan Vikshakham Pravisham Schare Punya Desha Sari Chayam Vanashamavati Mahim Purani Vikshakham Pravishan Punya Desha Sari Chayam Vanashamavati Mahim Chare. He is not actually allowed to, particularly he is not supposed to go to cities and big towns and villages and places like that. But if he has to go there only for the sake of bhiksha, only for receiving food, he can go there. Otherwise, he should travel in holy places, holy rivers and holy places, temples, places like that, and holy mountains or holy forests or holy ashrams, wherever there are great devotees are living. In such places he should spend his time, not continuously go and stay in the middle of the city or the places like that. That is not recommended for a sannyasi. So that's why I say Puragrama Vrajanasa, but for Bhikshartham Pravisham Chaya. For Bhiksha's sake he can go to the villages or to the houses to beg for food. Otherwise, he should stay away from them. Then he says something important. Vanaprasthasamam dvesham vishnam vaishyamacare samsiddhya ashusam moha shuddha sattva shilam dhasa. Vanaprasthasamam dvesham abhishnam vaishyamacare samsiddhya ashusam moha shuddha sattva shilam dhasa. Vanaprasthasamam dvesham abhishnam vaishyamacare. A sannyasi can go and beg from a vanaprastha ashrama. If he gets food from a vanaprastha ashrami, it is better than the food that he gets from a householder. That is the understanding. If first of all, actually it's a difficult thing, isn't it? The vanaprastha himself, he is getting his food from there, he is collecting from the forest. Naturally, he won't have his feedback is not going to give you very nutritious or very luxury food. It will be very austere what the vanaprastha has got, because he himself has managed to collect something from the forest. And the sannyasi is going to beg from him, from the vanaprastha ashram. If he gives the food, you can take it. Krishna says you should take that because it is better than the food what you will collect from the householder through bhiksha. There Krishna is stressing that point. Whatever it may be. But Krishna's point is that vanaprastha ashram food is a better food to eat than the food that is collected from a householder. Because that pure food is purer, it's earned properly, in a proper way. Householder food is not that pure, isn't it? All kinds of shoddy dealings we must have done. How we have acquired the wealth, we don't know. And so all that will follow with the food. That's why in order sannyasi to maintain that purity, he should eat the food in such a way that otherwise we can see the food what we eat has a direct influence on us, isn't it? That it is not the gross food that matters, the person who has cooked, how the food was acquired, in what way it was earned, all these matters. And that vasanas also, the person if he has acquired in the wrong way, those things will come through that food to our consciousness also. They will be very sensitive to all that. That's why it is spoken like that. The sannyasi who wants to maintain that purity, he shouldn't accept food anywhere and everywhere very freely. So if he does that, he will get polluted himself. Forget about the person who has given the food. Once he has eaten, he will be contaminated with that. And Krishna is comparing with that and saying to us that if he takes food from vanaprastha ashram, it is the safest place. Because vanaprastha ashram, he'll collect everything from the forest. And it won't be very luxury food, isn't it? It will be very, very simple. And because it is collected proper way, that food, if you go and ask him that if he should give you the food, because he should give it to you, because you are on a sannyas ashram, compared to vanaprastha ashram, he will share with you, you can take that and have it. That is advisable, Krishna says. It's advisable as far as Krishna is concerned. That's why it says here, vanaprastha ashramanam padesh abhishtam vaishyam acharel. He should go to this vanaprastha ashram again and again and get from him the food, what is necessary. Shira andhasa shuddha sattvaha asamnoha ashu samsiddhini. Then very quickly he says, the sannyasi will get purification by taking the food from the vanaprastha ashram. If the sannyasi gets the food from the vanaprastha ashram, he will get purified very quickly. And that is the best food, he says, for the sannyasi. Now there is no vanaprastha where you could go and ask food. And sannyasis are not happy with the ordinary food also. They have got their own specific needs and requirements and everything. So everything has gone like a different route altogether now. So what can you do? That is the modern sannyasam. So it is not the fault of the sannyasa ashram. It is that the time has changed and the world has also changed in such a way that a lot of adjustments are made in every field, and therefore the result also in the same way, isn't it? How much? That means jnanam sannyasa lakshanam. Sannyasa's life is meant for cultivating spiritual knowledge and to lead the society through knowledge, isn't it? Through knowledge of the soul, knowledge of the self. Who else will teach the society about the soul except the sannyasi? Sannyasi's duty that is, to do that. There is no other plan in sannyasi's life except to educate the general class of people, particularly the householders, in the knowledge of the self, knowledge of the soul, and make them aware of the goal of life and self-realization. That's their responsibility. So therefore, Krishna is saying here that if that way food cannot be acquired, then unchavati, shilonchavati, that is what is the next verse. Naidat vastudaya pashyat drishyamanam vinashyati asakta chitto virame ihamutra chirihirshidam. That naidat vastudaya pashyat drishyamanam vinashyati asakta chitto virame ihamutra chirihirshidam. Then if he gives up this food, and how can one stay in that state? Shilonchavati, that is Krishna saying here. Neither vastudaya pashyet, either drishyamanam vastudaya na pashyet vinashyati. That he should never, a sannyasi should look at this world in such a way, he should always think this world is not a real thing. This world is not a real thing. Why? It is meant for to be destroyed. It's meant to be destroyed because it will get destroyed one day. That awareness should be there in the sannyasi's mind. Sannyasi's thought should always be that this world is going to be destroyed one day. So there is no necessity to make any plans for this world. As far as sannyasi is concerned. Ataha asakta chittaha ihamutra chigirishida virame. Therefore, without being attached anywhere in this world, for any activities in this world with any attachment, he should refrain from that. Sannyasi should never get involved in any of the activities of this world. That is Krishna. Because he should always see this. Asakta chit neither vastudaya pashyat drishyamanam vinashyati. Anything, whenever he looks at this world, he should be completely conscious of the fact that it's all going to be destroyed one day. That completely fixed in that platform of the soul, in other words. That is what a sannyasi means. And only in that state he can execute spiritual life properly. Otherwise it's not going to have the result also. So asakta chitto viramet ihamutra chigirshida. That person should be free from ihamutra. Ihamutra means he has no attachment here, nor he has any plans for going to higher planets and to enjoy them. Iha mutra phalabhoga vyagam. Neither desire for any results from this world or any desire from the world in the after death from the heavenly planets. To such an extent, Vairagyam had come to him. In that person, he is ready for going back to the spiritual world, or going back, or self-realization. He is qualified for that, otherwise not. We'll stop there and we'll continue after 15 minutes.